Major chords, they are a major thing in music. And how do we address them? Well, typically with a major scale or a Lydian scale. But what's the best way to practice these so that you can play major or Lydian sounds across the whole neck of the guitar in any key? Well, I have a way that I practice them through the cycle of fourths that I'm going to share with you in this video. If you're interested, check out the PDF in the description, and this will give you fretboard diagrams to follow along with. The first thing I do is I just jump into a place in the cycle. I'll start on C today. And I just go through and I play all of the notes within the scale. And I try to find interesting patterns, maybe arpeggios, just shapes, looking at that fretboard diagram. And I try to kind of plug in every single note on the fretboard. So I'll do some of that for you. And as I go, I'll stop and I'll show you some different options that create really the major sound. So in this case, I'm ignoring for right now the sharp 4 on the diagram, and I'm playing the regular 4. On the diagram, you see that I've overlaid major and Lydian into one scale pattern. And often my thinking is that way because I know that in jazz improvisation, often on a major chord, I can always have the option of playing Lydian. So I sort of see it as a combined scale. If I were to play it as a scale, it sounds like this, by the way. It's sort of like a bebop scale, but a weird one. 1, 2, 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. For now, let's play the natural 4. And like I said, I'll play all over the fretboard, and I'll stop to show you some interesting shapes along the way. So I'm trying to get the sound of sus4 going to 4. So the natural 4 going to the 3. And here are some lines. Got this part covered, so I'll go to the next caged position, which is really the A position of C. I'm using kind of a 3-note per string fingering, so if I played like F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Do all kinds of intervals, fourths. Or I could do fifths. All diatonic to C major. sus4. And when I feel like I have coverage of this position, then I'll move to the next one. All kinds of chords, right? Any combination really of any of the tones within the scale makes a valid harmony, more or less. It's up to what you are after. What I just ended on there was a chord that was 1, 5, and 2, and I could add the 3. And this is really the G form of the C major scale if we're thinking caged. So if I'm feeling pretty good about that, I'll go to the E form. Everybody knows this bar chord. What I'm trying to do is get the real sound of the Ionian mode, the major scale. And the sound of that has to do with, of course, the root, the 3rd, the 7th, and then that natural 4. So if I have chords that have the natural 4 in it, or even look at this chord, C, G, F, going going to C, G, E, a spread triad. I want to over and over kind of saturate my ear with 4/3, fa, mi, fa, mi. There I played the F sharp from Lydian as a passing tone. And keep getting that C in my ear too. Maybe play thirds. Into D position. If we had a capo on the 10th fret, it would look like I'm playing D major, but what we're hearing is a C chord. Now, what I do when I really practice this, and I'm not teaching and practicing at the same time, is I actually mix the Lydian and the Ionian all together. And I see what kind of different sounds I can create. I sometimes will even play both fourths. I'll play chords that include both the, which gets pretty weird, it gets pretty out there. But here I have F natural and F sharp with a C chord. That's what I want there. So what I'm really trying to do though is get super comfortable with C Ionian, C Lydian overlaid together for the whole fretboard, okay? So I might do some experiments that are more or less successful, like what you just heard was not super beautiful, but what I'm doing is I'm kind of testing myself over and over for fluency and recall kind of knowledge of the scales. So let me demonstrate that a little bit. In fact, what I'll do, I think, instead is I'll just play Lydian for a little bit. So here's some C Lydian sounds, and I'm gonna kind of play in a style where I play rhythm voicings a little bit, and then I play lines, and I go back and forth, okay? So I'll start simple, and then maybe I'll get more elaborate. So here's a C Lydian type sound. Some chordal voicings from the key of G major. C Lydian is really G major. If you were a pianist, you would just say, oh, I'll play all the white keys, except I'll play F sharp instead of F. On the guitar, we need to see it like that, but it's harder to see it. It's like seeing 6 keyboards, right? We need to adjust our thinking, like calibrate for C Lydian, all Fs go to F sharp. But once you do that, you can do some of these chordal chords. And my thinking is basically G major. I'll do that whenever there's an F involved, like here, I raise it to F sharp. Here would be C Ionian, but this F has to come up to F sharp. But I'm trying to be melodic. I'm trying to create really a composition. I'm trying to improvise a composition from C Lydian. So a composition has a lot of different features to it, but I'm playing in different registers. I'm making the guitar kind of have a conversation with itself like this. And again, the important thing is that I play every note of C Lydian on the guitar multiple times so that I have that map complete in my mind. Would practice 4-note per string scales a lot, and I'll probably practice those as well. So, or and I might even get into like a situation where I'm just riding a string all the way down or all the way up. That is really useful. It sounds good. What is it? It's C, B, E, F sharp. It's like a drop 3 C major 7 chord, but we've lowered the 5th to the sharp 4. And if that one sounds a little tight, what you can do is replace this B with a G like this, so, which is a more open sound. C, G, E, F sharp. If you're looking at the fretboard diagram, it's 1, 5, 3, sharp 4, and my hand is in 7th position. So middle finger on the C. So any voicing like that, what you can do is invert it and or just move it up the scale, actually, if you like. So you could play, so C, G, E, F sharp could become D, A, F sharp, G, which is going to be a crazy sounding chord. But this way of thinking where I'm not playing licks, I'm not playing, you know, like a vocabulary of stuff that I've learned from other players or transcriptions or books or anything. I'm really exploring the scale. I'll put my fingers in a configuration that's built from the mode, like this maybe. And I'll ask myself, what happens if I run that up the C Lydian scale? This is a C, F sharp, B, A, 1, sharp 4, 7, and the 6th. And if I move that up, and then I'll play melodic responses to that. Don't forget about harmonics. F sharp, G, E, D, A, F sharp, G. Those are all Lydian natural harmonics. C Lydian or G major. Okay, so this first part of the video, I'm just showing you kind of more of like a philosophy of practice, or a way that you can kind of move forward. And again, I always use the term wiring the brain for music, like making your mind fluid with the material and seeing the map on the fretboard. So if you're looking at the PDF there, now would be the time to flip to the next one. Now the next one is F. Why is it F? F Lydian or F major, F Lydian overlaid. It's because I'm going up the circle of fourths. And this is one of the ways that I practice things. There are many different cycles, right? You could do cycle 2, which would be like C to D, D to E, always a second between the root of the chord of the bass note. Or cycle 3 would be going from C to E to G to B to D to F to A to C. Cycle 4, the reason I emphasize this so much in my practice and in my teaching materials is that it tends to be, not always, but really the majority of the time, it tends to be the way that harmonic progressions move. And that's just, I think, has to do with the overtone series and probably stuff outside the scope of this video. But practicing whatever you're doing through all 12 keys and then through the circle or cycle of fourths is super powerful. And you'll see that many tunes, like a tune like All the Things You Are, or Autumn Leaves or something, those iconic tunes, or pieces by Bach, so many of these things move in fourths motion with the bass. I'll tune really quickly before we go farther here. Here's an E if you want to tune to me. So now, I'm thinking about caged stuff. I'm thinking about 3-note per string and 4-note per string fingerings. I'm learning the map of C Lydian, and as I'm doing that, I'm really learning all the other keys because of the nature of the guitar, right? The thing that makes the guitar the pattern-oriented instrument that it is. So really going through the rest of the keys is just a thing of learning those similar shapes in the relevant position for the key. Let's go to F major. So I'm going to play natural fours here, not the sharp 4. And I play 1, 5, 4. And then I resolve that to the 3. So here's an F triad. Now, let's start to make some lines in F major. And we're going to emphasize this motion. Fa, mi. I'm using movable do. If you're using fixed do, it's te, la. Sometimes I like to have the 5th and the 6th right next to each other. And then I'll start to move into the next position, which would be the D position for F. There's the 5th and 6th together in that octave. Before I did it like. Now I introduced the sharp 4. So now I'm going to start mixing Lydian and major together. It's just like, you know, two watercolors that are blurring together a bit. Let's do some Lydian sounds. There's sharp 4 with a major triad on top, right? As soon as I play Lydian, I want to play a little more aggressively. I feel like I want to be more incisive. Let's play some stuff that's a little more in time and a little bit more you know, hard-nosed. Again, those chordal voicings. Check out my chord voicing book on Amazon. C Lydian chord I taught you? It's down here. I call this 0 position. My first finger, it's like I have a bar on the open strings, if that makes sense. How about some 6ths? let's go into the next position. Now what's this chord? This chord, this is a structure that I find myself playing a lot. I just like them. I think I heard them in maybe like in Ravel or something long time ago, and I like the sound. It's a second with a fourth on top. So how about we move this around a little bit? So I've got the seventh, the root, and the sharp four, and those notes would move down like this. This would be, again, thinking F Lydian. This would be 6, 7, 3, and then it would be 5, 6, 2, and then we'd have sharp 4, 5, root. So listen to these. And then what's nice is if you're playing solo guitar textures, you know, find an F and a C, the root and the 5 underneath these things. And maybe move it down. But the bass notes are staying the same. Then you'd have, and then here I could put it way in the basement. And invert it, so it's the low root and then the higher fifth. So those little, I call these interval voicings, but it's really like a diatonic second and then a diatonic fourth above that. So you've got the two notes, and if you saw them on the musical staff, they would be, you know, consistent shape, consistent form on the notation. So here we are in this position. I'll show you another Lydian chord that I like. This one I was playing earlier on C major like this. This is a C, F sharp, or C Lydian rather. C, F sharp, G and B, C, F. Now if I move it up here, I can play it like this. I'm barring on the fifth position. I play F, B, C, E. 1, 4, 5, 7. I think of this like this. We have a shell voicing, A minor 7, and I can move that around the scale. Diatonic to F Lydian. But then I have the sixth of that chord on top. If I think strictly in terms of F Lydian, this is the third, the second, the fifth, and the root, and then I would just move it through the scale or through the mode. Those are really nice thick voicings for comping. And of course you can move those upper notes. You can play enclosures on the upper notes. Here we have to adjust a little bit. And here, which is... So here we are. There's another common F Lydian voicing. So F, B, E, A. And that's like the A caged form for F Lydian, right? So F major looks like an A chord with a capo on the 8th fret, and then I lower the 5th to a sharp 4, and now I have this kind of thing. And a little chromaticism is okay sometimes. Let's just do this last one now. So this is the G form for F, right? If I had a capo on the 10th fret and I played a G major chord, and before I showed you this one for C major, right? I played a C, G, D, E. Now I'm doing it up here, but I'm running out of space. So So this is F major, F Lydian, and we've kind of seen how some of the shapes that I liked to play within the C major, C Lydian, I recycle them in the F major, F Lydian context, and we start to expand out the keys. Now this video would be really long if I gave all 12 keys this treatment. So what I'm gonna do instead, I think, is improvise a little bit for you. And I'm gonna show you how, first I'll spend time with each mode and just comfortably explore it. And then I'll start to get a little more strict about the harmonic rhythm. And so I might play 2 or 4 bars or even 1 bar of each sound and then shift to the next mode, but keep it in the same position. And then at that point, we're really playing, you know, it's more like jazz improvisation, right? Modern jazz improvisation. So, I'm gonna start with E Lydian sounds. Triad pairs, F major, E major, or here's F major, and then E major more or less. Let's move the bass. So it really sounds Lydian. Now, A Lydian. If you're on the PDF, we're in A Lydian now, and then I'll follow the PDF in kind of a circle. So start on A, if you can find A Lydian. By the way, inside joke for classical players there. So sharp 4 root 9, sharp 4 6 9, which is G sharp minor. That's a chord we saw before. Root 7 3 sharp 4, or we played this one earlier. Root sharp 4 7 3. Now, like I said, I spent time on each mode, but I feel like, okay, I've got some coverage of that. I would do more, because I didn't really cover the whole neck. But eventually, let's say I'm here. Now I'm gonna voice lead into D Lydian. So we turn the page of the PDF. Now we're in D Lydian. Let's get a strong D sound. So D major 7, but if we really want Lydian, put the sharp 4 in instead of the 5. Or There's the 5 and the sharp 4 with the 7th. So let's do some stuff in here. That chord looks familiar, right? Now what happens if we put a D major chord on top of the sharp 4? So it's Lydian, but it's pretty dark. Now I'm going to move the triad down. I'll move the triad to C sharp minor, and I'll move the bass note up. So check this out. And then back to D Lydian, which, let's do this chord. Remember that chord? We played it on F here. We played it on C here. Now I'm playing it on D. So, see, the thing that makes these sound a little bit, I don't know, maybe not like what a lot of guitarists play, maybe more like what a pianist plays, is that I'm getting voicings that have the cluster in there. The minor or major seconds in there. Okay, so let's get a little more rhythmic. I'll play some more D Lydian. Pairs, you can play E major and to D major, E major, as I'm feeling pretty good about that, I'm going to go to G Lydian. I'm going to try to do it in a way that voice leads from where I was. So I think the last chord I played was something like this. So how do I get to G Lydian? Well, how about I play this chord? Now here's an interesting chord. G, C sharp, B, E. Sharps, and how many sharps are flats in G Lydian? G major is 1 sharp, F sharp. Lydian adds the sharp 4, which is C sharp. So now I'm seeing my guitar like a piano, and I'm thinking C sharps and F sharps and C sharps. So let's play some G Lydian stuff. It's nice, actually, on the guitar, I can play this triad as an accompaniment. And then on the higher string, here's A major over G. How about this chord? C, G, C sharp, B, E. Nasty, little Leo Brower like, I could play the 4th and the 5th together. To C Lydian. Now we've already done this, and the next one will be F Lydian, which we've already done. So I'm going to skip those two over. If you're in the PDF, you're probably flipping around, but we're going now, where would we go? From F to B flat Lydian. And I'm here for C Lydian, then I'd go maybe like an F Lydian sound down here. And then I'm into B flat Lydian. I'll use this shape. Now, B flat Lydian is really F major, so it just has a B flat in it. Let's go straight to E flat Lydian. I'm gonna start speeding up the harmonic rhythm now, okay? So we're gonna start to play maybe just 2 bars, let's say, of each Lydian scale, and I'll show you how I voice lead them in the same region of the guitar. So here's B flat Lydian for 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. E flat Lydian. A flat. D flat. F sharp Lydian. B Lydian. Then I'd go E Lydian. G Lydian, F Lydian, C Lydian, etc. So this is how you would ultimately practice. You'll put on a drum machine and then you kind of shift your thinking rhythmically. And it takes a while, like you might start on 8 bars of each one, and then 4, and then 2, and then maybe even 1 if you want to play some of the faster Coltrane tunes, for example, have, you know, really fast harmonic rhythms. And practicing this way will help you, you know, as you accumulate the different modes like Dorian or melodic minor sounds or harmonic minor, you give them the same kind of treatment that I showed you today with these 2 scales overlaid, the major Lydian sounds. I heard Joe Pass say in a video that there are only 3 sounds that he thinks of in jazz, like major, minor, and dominant. And that way of thinking can be really good to consolidate everything and have all your options kind of in 3 buckets. So this would be one of the, you know, big buckets, the major bucket, major sounds. I think I'll play you out. I'll play a piece where I'll mix all kinds of Lydian sounds, and I'll be a little bit maybe asymmetrical or free with how much I spend on each scale, on each mode. But I'll go through the circle of fourths and see if you can hear where I'm switching. It should be clear where the harmony changes. I might spend, sometimes I'll spend a few bars on one mode, and sometimes more or less. So I'm gonna choose a random jumping in point. I'm gonna choose G Lydian, and then I'll improvise through the 12 Lydian scales a short piece for you, mixing all of these ideas up. Here we go. Okay, so I can practice and have practiced many hours in that way, learning my Lydian sounds around the neck and trying to compose, trying to spontaneously compose. That's a really important thing. Be motivic, deal with different textures, try different harmonic rhythms. I hope this is a useful lesson to you. And again, check the PDF in the description for some diagrams that will help you. Just put them up on your screen, use your arrow key, and just kind of spend time in each zone and then flip through. And eventually you'll no longer need them because you'll have that map in your mind. I hope this is useful, and thanks again for watching. See you next time.